A couple of weeks ago, I did a video on this brand new Tamron 70-300mm Z mount lens, but in that video, I used my Nikon Z7 full frame camera. So what's it like on this Z50? Let's find out. Today I'm here at New Farm Park in my capital city, which is Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. I absolutely love this time of year. The jacarandas are out. These beautiful purple flowering trees. Couldn't think of a better place to test this lens. So when you drop this Tamron 70-300mm lens onto something like the Z50 here, you end up getting a 1.5 crop. So that then turns the lens into 105mm to 450mm. Now some might say that's actually a good or bad thing, but I believe if you were buying something like this lens in the first place, then the longer reach you can get, well, I think that's a good thing. It comes in very handy for a lot of things like bird, wildlife, landscape, and travel photography. I'm actually not going to go too much into the specifics of this lens. I did that in the other video, so what I'm going to do is I'll put that video at the end of this one so you can check it out at your leisure. Now this lens doesn't have any inbuilt stabilization. As most of you know, the crop sensor Nikon cameras don't have any in-body stabilization either, unlike the Nikon full-frame cameras that do. So just walking around New Farm Park here, there's just this one single thing with this lens when you put it with a crop sensor. It's not having that image stabilization factor. You're gonna have to resort to using something like a high shutter speed, or in video, you're gonna have to use something like a monopod or tripod. I'll just put up a couple of examples now of what it's like hand holding the Z50 with this lens in basically at its widest and close up. And as you can see, it's near on impossible to hold it. So if you were thinking of buying this lens and you're gonna go and film your kids, you know, doing sport and everything, yeah, it'd be fantastic. But you're gonna have to have something like a monopod or a tripod. And when you do combine this featherweight combo on a monopod or tripod, you get some really beautiful results from the Z50's 4K and HD in-camera slow-mo. The eye detect focus test was interesting on the Z50. I found at 70mm the focus wasn't as sticky on the eye compared to the Z7 test. The focus box tended to stick more in the face detection mode with the odd hint of eye every now and then. Maybe it's a firmware thing, but I'm not sure. However, when I zoomed the lens in, the eye detect was much better and performed just the same as it did on my Z7. In my last video on this Tamron lens, I got a lot of questions in the comments regarding the softness around the edges. Here's a shot I took of a brick wall at f4.5 at 70mm, which is 105mm on the Z50. First thing I noticed, unlike the equivalent Z7 shot, I got no vignetting. This doesn't happen on the Z50 probably because the 1.5 crop factor. I'll just push into the center of this shot firstly and then zoom around to the outer edges, and you can make up your own mind if it's sharp or not. Here's some sample shots showing the difference between the widest and longest focal lengths, shooting the same scene when used on the Z50. Focusing speeds between subjects on the Z50 is quite fast and just as quick as it performed on my Z7. But while I have you here, have a look at that shake happening. This is what it looks like looking through the Z50's viewfinder when you combine a lens without any image stabilization with a camera that has no in-body stabilization. Now I'm trying my very best to keep the camera steady here too. I think this demonstrates my point about using a higher shutter speed so you reduce the chances of getting any blur in your shots. You can achieve some nice bokeh when you have enough separation from your backgrounds. These flower shots I thought turned out pretty good and pleasing to the eye. The following day after New Farm Park, I took the Z50 and Tamron 70-300 to the nature reserve near my house. I was very keen to see how it would perform doing a bit of bird and wildlife photography. In fact, on this day, I finally was able to capture this elusive wallaby that I kept seeing here, but was never fast enough to get a shot. Well, at least I got its head anyway, before bounding off into some thick, dense bushes. To top things off, I got a snap of this cute possum who made a home out of this termite nest. It was definitely keeping a close eye on me, that's for sure. And for a bit of fun, I quickly switched the Z50 into animal detect. And the crazy thing is, it actually worked on this possum's face. I guess it does look like a cat in a way, and I got a box around its left eye. This combo of the Z50 and Tamron 70-300mm for bird and wildlife is incredibly light. I shot for most of the morning and honestly it felt like I was carrying nothing in my hand. So this combo may be a great option for those long hikes or when you're jet setting around continually to different locations and need to keep weight down. Again, I just want to say a very quick thank you to the team at Tamron Australia for just loaning me this lens to do this test and review. Well guys, if you want any more information on this lens, what I've done is I've left it in the description box below. Never stop creating, and I'll see you next time.